My wife and I have been going through a rough patch for about 6 to 7 months. I struggle with depression, and for the last 2 years I've been inpatient a couple of times, and it's affected our lives very much. We're in marriage counseling and we both see individual therapists. We've been together for 6 years, and from the beginning I knew of her male friend. I was fine with it, as she explained that he was an old coworker, and I'm not the jealous type, and there was nothing at the time that would have made me suspicious. However, when I started going through my own dark times, she started to withdraw from me more and more, and hang out with him more, talking and texting him every day. It got to the point where she had emotionally checked out of our relationship and was more invested in theirs, as they would do fun couple things. I called her out on this, and it turned into a week-long fight. She finally relented to stop hanging out with him, as I said that if we want to repair our marriage, I can't have her replacing me with him. And I understand that things are tense and she needs space to clear her head, but the time she spends with him and talks with him is bordering on excessive. This didn't go smoothly, and while I didn't have any concrete evidence, their friendship made me feel uneasy. Fast forward a couple of months, we're in marriage counseling, trying to work on our communication with each other, and the topic of her male friend comes up. She and the therapist are in agreement that she needs people to hang out with outside of our relationship, and I don't deny that. I try to explain that she has other friends that are women, and she spends time with them too, just not to this extent. The therapist asks her if she's ever had more than a friendship with him, and she says no. The session ends with me doubting my gut and accepting that I'm just feeling insecure because he's a man, and how it shouldn't matter that he is. He's just a friend. They start hanging out again. He lives 2 hours away, so she'll make the drive on a Saturday morning, stay all day there and come home late. I accept that they are just friends and try not to let it bother me. On Christmas Eve, we're having a good time together and having some drinks into the evening. Just me and her. She goes into the restroom without her phone, and she misses a call. I went to bring her phone to her so she can text him back, and I open the phone to find her conversation with her male friend. She's calling him babe. Most recently, she is telling him she's drunk and that he has a nice body. I close the phone and immediately go and confront her about it. She blames it on being drunk and that it doesn't mean anything, but I don't buy it and keep pressing it. I'm about ready to pack my bags at this point. She begs me to stay, and I tell her only if she starts explaining herself, because I'm now furious because it all starts to click for me. She confesses that before she met me, they dated for a year, but broke things off because of the age difference, and they're only just friends now and haven't been intimate since when they dated, and that they only just flirt over text sometimes. It just turns into a big argument that gets nowhere. I sleep on the couch that night, and the next day we talk about it again. She's sorry, and she wants to try and fix our marriage, and I do too, but I'm so angry that she lied to me for so long and lied to the therapist. I tell her that she can't contact him ever again if there's a chance for us to salvage anything, but she doesn't want to lose a friend. I tell her that at this point she can't call him just a friend anymore. He's an ex, and she can't have a husband and a boyfriend, and she needs to choose. She's crying at this point and is begging me to let her keep in contact with him and that I can go through her phone when I want if she can just keep talking to him, but I don't want to police her. She needs to make a decision on what she wants, or I'm leaving. I have her cut contact with him, and now things are just tense between us. To add, I'm sorry for the wall of text. I tried to shorten it as best I could, and I'll clarify anything that's unclear. I'm just torn on what to do. I feel empty and bordering on suicidal, but I have just put on a face around her because I want to make it work, but I'm still in so much pain. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Bro, wake the heck up. Consenting adults that once had an intimate relationship don't just sit around his house 2 or 3 hours away and talk. Open your eyes and mind. This just does not happen. Accept it or not, but how can you not look back at all the time she's driving 2 or 3 hours away, staying all day at a man's house she had an intimate relationship with, and all they did was talk? There is a bridge in New York City I'd like to sell you. Comment 2. I think you need to talk to a divorce lawyer. Don't tell your wife. Stop trusting your wife. She will keep cheating on you if you stay with her. If you stay with her, then you will have to keep putting up with her behavior. You can't change her or fix her. Start taking money out of your joint bank account and put it in your own account. Listen to your lawyer. Good luck with whatever you decide to do. Now for the update. It's been 3 weeks since the whole mess with the texts, and things are basically still stuck at home. Not great, to say the least. I thought maybe a weekend trip would help make things better, but she shot that down, saying she needs to focus on our marriage. Like, what does that even mean? I'm just trying to do something nice, and she's not having it. So this evening, we went to a family dinner at her parents' house. I felt super awkward the whole time. Her mom and dad are really nice people, but I could tell they sensed something was off. I tried to act normal, but I'm sure my fake smile gave it away. I kept thinking, man, I hope they don't ask us about having kids or something, because that convo is definitely not happening. During dinner, her dad made this nice toast about love and commitment. I mean, it was touching and all, but I was just sitting there like, can I get a one-way ticket out of here? I felt uncomfortable, like I was being called out. Her dad looked at me, and I just nodded, trying not to cry. Then I noticed her texting during dinner, and it brought back all those dumb suspicions I've been trying to ignore. I asked her what she was texting about, and she just said it was a group text with family. What group text is that important that you can't even put the phone down for dinner? I tried to talk to her, but she seemed so distracted and distant. She'd give me one-word answers like, I was some annoying telemarketer. After dinner, I overheard her talking to her sister in the kitchen about wanting to make things right. I was cleaning up in the dining room and I heard it all. I wanted to scream, "You've got a funny way of making things right." But I didn't. I just kept quiet. When I went outside for some fresh air, I saw her friend's car parked nearby. My heart started racing and I felt like I was going to lose it right there. I confronted her about it when we got home, and she brushed it off, saying it was just a coincidence. A coincidence? Really? The next day, I found a receipt for a restaurant dinner that I knew wasn't a place we had gone together. I mean, I'm not exactly keeping a tab on our past dinner dates, but this place was definitely not on the list. So I asked her about it, and she claimed it was a work dinner with colleagues. Work dinner? For real? Doubts kept spinning in my mind, and I decided to reach out to a mutual friend for clarity. I know, not the most subtle thing, but I was desperate. This friend confirmed that she had indeed been seen multiple times with her male friend at various places. My stomach dropped. I felt so betrayed, like I had been punched in the gut. I confronted her again about it, and it turned into a shouting match. She accused me of being controlling and paranoid, which only made things worse. I didn't even recognize my own voice. I was so angry that I just started packing a bag. I needed to get out of there. I stayed at a nearby hotel for a couple of nights to think things over. After cooling off, we agreed to attend another counseling session to deal with our ongoing issues. It's like we've been stuck in therapy and counseling ever since this mess started, and I'm not even sure if it's working. At the session, we talked about boundaries and the importance of trust. The therapist led the whole convo, and we just sat there like two kids in detention, answering questions. I don't know what's going to happen next. She wants to make things right, but I'm not sure if I even want that. Things have changed, and I don't know if we can go back to the way things were. I just feel lost, man. Edit. It's been really tough the past few weeks. I don't think anyone in the family knows what's going on between us, but they definitely sense something. My wife and I are still in a fragile state. We both want the relationship to work, but it requires commitment from both sides. Am I the idiot for choosing love over my mother's prejudices and facing her wrath? My boyfriend and I have been dating for 4.5 years. We've been friends since we were 12, and he is truly the sweetest, most gentle man I have ever met. In the years we've been dating, never once has he raised his voice or done anything that has placed any doubt in my head that he is the one. Cliché, I know, but it's truly the way I feel. We talk about our future together all the time. and I have full intention of getting married to him one day. He gets along amazingly with my friends and has remained patient and understanding throughout all of the hurdles we've been through. I know I am young, but I am confident when I say that he is both my best friend and my life partner. However, as an East Asian girl, there is a lot of pressure from my mother to find the perfect man, preferably one that is either white or East Asian too. As with many East Asians, they hold a prejudice against South Asians, which my boyfriend is. My mother has made it clear throughout our relationship that she isn't happy with my choice, and I know that she has been secretly praying all these years that we break up. Every time one of her friends or distant relatives asks me if I have a boyfriend, she interrupts and answers, no. And she always makes passive, offhand comments about how there are so many more guys out there I could date. It's a very difficult conversation, and therefore we usually don't explicitly talk about it in depth, as we both get very heated. I guess I've just hoped that in the future, she would decide to support me when she realized how serious we were. Recently, however, she has explicitly stated to me that if I marry my boyfriend, she will cut off all ties with me and never wants to see my face again. If I commit to someone of that race, I was pretty shocked that she outright said this, because I didn't realize her racism was that severe. Her comment made me incredibly upset, and I told her that if that's what it comes to, then I will accept that she will no longer be in my life. This hasn't deterred her, though, as she continues to press the issue further. She keeps telling me he isn't right for us, and that he's going to ruin our future, which is all based on his race and culture, by the way, not even any of his actual characteristics. She doesn't personally know any South Asians, and all her knowledge is based on stereotypes, which is infuriating, as she refuses to even get to know my boyfriend. As a 22-year-old still living at home with little savings, I'd say I'm pretty reliant on my parents for a lot, and this situation has really unnerved me. I truly want to have a good relationship with her, but I just can't agree to something like this. I have zero intention of breaking up with my boyfriend, especially for a reason as benign as race. Every time I ask her for a reason why she disapproves, it is always cultural differences, but I'm afraid that she will kick me out if I keep defying her. I love my mother and appreciate all that she has done for me, but is it too much to ask for her to support me in lieu of her racial prejudices? I'm not sure how to go about this, as I don't know if I am able to keep both my boyfriend and my mother in my life at this stage. I really wish there was something I could do. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. As someone who's been in a similar position, you lie. You keep lying until you get to the point that you can support yourself. Yes, Mom, we broke up. No, Mom, I don't think I'll ever get married. Mom, my heart is broken. I don't want children anymore. Mom, I'll be out with my friends. You need to let your boyfriend know about the situation so he knows why you're lying to your parents and why he needs to be hidden from them. Don't listen to people saying you need to move out now. This puts you in a situation that makes you reliant on others, and that can put you in danger. Wait until you can be fully independent, then leave. Comment 2. So your mom is a discriminatory? Let's just call it what it is. You've responded to her threats with the reality that she will be cutting herself off. She isn't listening and isn't going to start listening while you're still under her roof. You need an exit strategy. You're 22, plenty old enough to be moving out, and then you can go low or no contact until she either realizes the error of her ways or you never speak again. What does your boyfriend think about this situation, and what are his circumstances? Now, for the update. I'm not seeing any update here. It's been a while since I shared the last tea, but here's the situation. So about 3 weeks after the ultimatum from my mom, I thought it would be smart to invite my boyfriend over for dinner. I was hoping it would help smooth things over with her, even though I knew it was a long shot. But this dinner was special because it was my mom's birthday dinner. I figured, what better way to celebrate than to introduce her to the love of my life? I was honestly nervous as hell, but I spent days prepping my boyfriend for the dinner. I gave him the full rundown on my mom's views and all the crazy stuff she might say. I told him to just be himself and not let her get to him. He's pretty chill, so I knew he would be fine. The dinner was set with all the traditional dishes my mom loves, and as we all sat down to eat, I could just feel the tension in the air. My mom immediately started in with the passive comments about how nice it would be if her daughter dated someone from their cultural background. Like, come on, it's my mom's birthday. Can we not do this right now? My boyfriend tried to engage in conversation, sharing stories from his upbringing and all that good stuff, but my mom kept cutting him off. It was honestly so rude. Then during dessert, my younger sister, who's 18, accidentally mentioned a school project she had on cultural studies. That set my mom off, and she made a pointed comment about how certain cultures don't have the same values, clearly directed at my boyfriend. I could see my boyfriend getting surprised, trying to keep his cool, but the tension was so thick. My mom raised her voice, saying she couldn't support a relationship that doesn't reflect our family's traditions. The whole dinner just ended abruptly. My mom stormed off to her room, saying she needs a moment. My boyfriend was really concerned about how it all went down, but I did my best to reassure him that we'd figure it out. After dinner, I tried talking to my mom, but she refused to engage. She said she wouldn't discuss the matter further. What a surprise. The next day, I got a text from my boyfriend suggesting we take a break until things cooled down with my family. My heart just sank. A few days later, I found out my mom had been talking to relatives about my boyfriend. She was sharing her disapproval left and right. I confronted her about it, and honestly, I lost my cool. I told her it wasn't fair to involve other people in our family business. She insisted she was just looking out for my future. I mean, come on. We had this huge argument, and I accused her of being closed-minded. It got even worse when she threatened to limit financial support if I kept seeing my boyfriend. I mean, I'm 22 and still dependent on my parents, so this is a huge deal. It's messed up. Over the next week, my boyfriend kept reaching out, and we decided to meet at a local coffee shop to talk things over. It was honestly such a relief to see him. During our coffee meeting, he opened up about his own struggles with family expectations, which made me feel a little less alone. We talked about the idea of moving in together to escape the family pressure. It was a big step, but we were both considering it. That same day, my mom found out about our coffee meeting through my sister. She confronted me about it at home, and let me tell you, it was not pretty. She accused me of betraying my family, and I stood my ground about my relationship choices. We had another escalating argument, and she threatened to cut off communication entirely if I kept dating my boyfriend. A few days after that, I got an unexpected call from my dad asking to meet alone. I was so confused. At the meeting, my dad expressed concern about the rising tensions and urged me to consider my mom's viewpoint. Like, seriously? I explained my position, and to my surprise, he offered his support. He said he believed in my happiness, and that meant the world to me. Feeling encouraged, I decided to introduce my boyfriend to my dad, hoping for a more positive outcome. The meeting went well, and my dad asked thoughtful questions and showed genuine interest. I was so relieved. But of course, it didn't end there. Later, my mom found out about my dad's support and felt completely betrayed. The conflict just escalated even more. Now I'm preparing for a family event where I expect even more confrontations and maybe a final decision about my relationship. It's honestly so exhausting, and I just want to be happy with the person I love. To answer a few questions, my dad is not South Asian, and my mom has always been strict but loving. My boyfriend has met my dad before, and my sister is not supportive. Am I the idiot for calling out my family for excluding me from holidays and demanding they include me? I am an oops baby, something that my family has constantly reminded me of since I was little, because it's funny. My brother, who is 44 years old, my sister, who is 42 years old, and my sister, who is 39 years old, were all planned by our parents. I was the result of a drunken fun night on New Year's Eve, according to my dad. I've never been close to my siblings due to the large age gap. My parents, while never mean, never went out of their way to show me the same love that my siblings get. At least that is how it's always felt. For instance, when I was younger, I was in choir. I used to love to sing, but no one in the family ever came to see me sing. I was told, "We are busy, or "We have other plans," so I gave up singing. But I remember them going to my other siblings' dance performances, so I gave up on doing anything other than working on my computer and playing with my friends. I stuck to just getting good with computers, and in doing so, ended up in a good job where I've been working for almost 10 years now. I started at the bottom of information technology and now have worked my way up to being a manager for about 15 people. However, being in information technology means I have to occasionally miss out on family events as well as some holidays because where I work, it's 24/7 split into 12-hour shifts. Due to this, over the years, I've been accidentally forgotten to be invited because we figured you were working without actually asking me. This has been a recurring issue with my family, forgetting to ask me to join them or making excuses as to why I wasn't invited. However, one thing I could always rely on was being able to show up on Christmas Eve. That's when we celebrate Christmas and still feel like I belonged, even if it was later in the evening. Most of the love I felt came from my nieces, who always think of me as the cool uncle and are always happy to see me. I happened to stop over at my parents' house yesterday, and while there, I saw my nieces. My parents tend to watch them on the weekends. That's a whole different story. But my nieces started asking if I was excited for Christmas, as we get to hang out in a cabin this year. I looked confused and asked my mom what they were talking about, and she looked obviously embarrassed and said everyone made plans back in June to celebrate in a rental cabin in Vermont for Christmas. I kid you not. She looked at me and said, "We all figured you had to work again and couldn't get the time off, so everyone figured you wouldn't mind missing one Christmas." Had they said something, I could have taken the time off. To say I was and am heartbroken is an understatement. Like I get I'm an oops baby and not really ever thought of much, if ever. But to just be left alone for Christmas on purpose, I mean, how does a family do that to someone? I just turned around, hugged my nieces goodbye and left. Didn't even say goodbye to my mom. I pride myself on being a strong individual, especially on how my family has always treated me. But not gonna lie, I actually cried on the way home. Never in my life have I felt so rejected, especially by people who are supposed to love me. I couldn't even ask her when they planned on telling me or if they planned on telling me. What would happen if I showed up after work and no one was there? I just left. I probably should have, but I was hurting too much to really care at the moment. Now here's my dilemma. I have a new girlfriend, Zoe, who is 27 years old, and by new, I mean we've only been going out and seeing each other since just after Thanksgiving. I sent her a text when I got home telling her what happened as I had to talk to someone. She kind of knows about my family. Being in such a new relationship, I didn't want to unload all my baggage on her. But she does know that my family and I don't have a standard type of relationship. Anyway, she has invited me to go with her to celebrate Christmas with her family. I haven't given her an answer yet. In previous relationships, we were together for months before the invite to Christmas ever came up. However, this is the first relationship where it's only been a few weeks. So, I'm asking people for their advice. Would going with Zoe to her family's be a good idea? Being that this is so new, is there a potential downside? Would it be better to be gracious and thank her for the invite but decline, or accept the invite and go? By the way, I do have to work Christmas Eve again this year, but not Christmas Day, so that's a plus, I guess. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. First of all, I wonder if you were an affair baby, not an oops baby. You should have been babied your whole life. You might consider writing your mom a letter, spelling out all the times they were awful to you and their assumptions in work are nonsense. Then I would go no contact for a while. In the meantime, go to Christmas with your girlfriend. Stop thinking there is a rule book in life and relationships. Go and see how a real family treats its members. Comment 2. You should go. I started seeing my now husband, then boyfriend, and a week into the relationship, I got a short notice invite to my sister's wedding. Strained relationship, quick wedding due to illness. So I asked my boyfriend of a week if he would go with me for moral support. It's been 18 years now, and we still look back on this memory as the start of our story. This could be the start of your relationship story. take a chance. Now, for the update. The Christmas cabin trip thing was a while ago, like a few months. I've been kind of quiet about it since then. Decided to spend the holidays with my girlfriend Zoe and her family because honestly, I was just done with the whole thing. A fresh start, you know. I was really nervous to meet her family, but wow, they were so welcoming. Like right away, they invited me to join in their holiday traditions, which was something I never really got to do with my own family. It felt nice. The Christmas dinner was awesome. They had this big spread of home-cooked dishes that I just couldn't get enough of. We all sat around the table, sharing stories and laughing. After dinner, Zoe's younger brother challenged me to a board game. I think he thought he could beat me, but I ended up winning. The whole family started playfully teasing him for losing, and it just felt so good to be included in that. After the game, we did gift exchange, which honestly was a new thing for me. My own family never really did that with me. Zoe got me this super thoughtful gift, a framed photo of our first date. I almost cried. So a week later, I'm just chilling when I get this unexpected message from my mom. It had a group photo from their New Year's celebration at the cabin. I could see my siblings commenting about the trip, all talking about how fun it was without me. My heart just sank. Like, come on, really? Zoe could see how upset I was and encouraged me to confront my family about the whole exclusion thing. It was hard, but I texted my mom asking for a family dinner to talk about it. To my surprise, my parents actually agreed and set a date. When the day of the dinner came, my siblings showed up with this mix of excitement and maybe a little apprehension. I opened the conversation about how I felt so excluded during the holidays. My older brother kind of brushed it off, saying it's just how things were. I calmly insisted that family should include everyone, no matter what. The atmosphere was getting a bit heated, but I just kept my focus. Then my mom jumped in and shared her own regrets over the past decisions. My dad admitted he hadn't realized how much it affected me. Honestly, didn't think he cared. Finally, my siblings started to get where I was coming from. We had this breakthrough moment when they suggested planning a family trip together. I proposed a summer getaway where everyone would be invited. They all got excited, discussing potential places to go. It felt like a weight was lifted. We started talking about family traditions and everyone was super enthusiastic, which was a nice change. After dinner, my siblings and I made plans for a weekend gathering to solidify this new tradition. It felt good to be part of something for once. A few weeks later, I got an unexpected invitation to a family barbecue. I decided to go, and it was honestly so nice. The atmosphere was relaxed, and I got to connect with my siblings in a way I hadn't before. Even my parents seemed more involved. So yeah, things are looking up. My family and I are working on this new dynamic, and it feels good. Plus, Zoe and her family have been a blessing. They really helped me find my footing again. Edit. I realized that some people might wonder about the age difference with my girlfriend. Zoe is in her early 30s, just like me. We've been together for about 6 months now, and things are going great. Her family has made me feel so welcome, which has truly helped in my healing process. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.